You're listening to a special presentation from Night of the Living podcast, Zoned Out with Freddy and Joe. Oh boy, Joe.
Hi, Freddy.
Do you feel like you just woke up and you're repeating the same day?
Sometimes, I mean, like when we start, it's a very familiar start because it's, you introduce us very similar ways. But it's like a friendly familiar. It's not like oh God, this is happening again. It's like, we get to do this again.
See, that's the power of the mind.
Right there.
I love we get into the power of the mind so much. We have this episode and next week's episode, when we get to that, are both thematically two sides of the same coin.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah. Shadow play this week.
Yeah. Which I thought when I first heard that and then saw the beginning, I was like, is this actually like a play or what's happening here? So we'll get into that later.
I pulled up because I knew shadow play was the thing. And I was like, what is the definition of a shadow play? So I looked it up because we can do that now like that with the magic of the internet and dictionaries. Shadow play is a noun. It's a display in which the shadows of flat jointed puppets are cast on a screen, which is viewed by the audience from the other side. Such shows originated in East Asia and were popular in London and Paris in the 18th and 19th centuries. They survive in traditional form in Java and Bali.
Interesting. It's funny. I just this last evening, my girlfriend and I have been watching American Gods and finishing that series.
That's a good one.
Which rudely was canceled at the end of season 3. But I understand there's a lot of reasons for it, but it
doesn't wrap up, right?
No. Yeah. Like there's some as you would with a story arc, but there's still major plot points that are unresolved, and it's a super bummer because I thought the characters were interesting, and I mean, again, I thought the first season or 2 was more interesting, and I think there's reasons for that, and we dug into it and got really deep in the rabbit hole of like why the showrunner kind of ruined things, and
well, not to mention the writer himself is in a whole lot of trouble.
Oh, is he?
Neil Gaiman?
Oh, yeah. Neil Gaiman. Yeah.
So who knows what they saw coming down the pipeline.
Right. Exactly. But it's interesting because in that, right in the second to last couple episodes, there is a shadow play. And one of the characters, Wednesday, which I won't go into any detail because I don't want to spoil anything for people, says that shadow play is one of the oldest forms of performance art. And I was like, oh, yeah. Oh, wait. Hey, shadow play. So
that's pretty cool.
It all comes together. It's very cool. Yeah.
I think my favorite use of a shadow play is in the Candyman not reboot, but the latest Candyman movie, the Nia Costa. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it yet. No.
Oh, it's got a great actually one of the trailers was the shadow play from the film. It's real neat. It just tells the story of Candyman with shadow play.
That's cool.
And it's they go together like fucking peanut butter and chocolate.
Wasn't there something kind of in Wakanda? I feel like, or not Wakanda, Black Panther. I feel like they did some. I don't know if it was shadow play, but I mean the narration of the stories. Part of that reminded me of that kind of idea of a shadow play, where it's like the shapes and figures, not so much as like direct personifications, but like you get the idea. It's just beautiful. I love it.
I agree, and I think it's like a more refined, like Punch and Judy. Right, the puppet show. Where it's,
I mean, I've heard of it, but
Punch. It's like I don't know if it's medieval, but the way I was taught, and I'm not going to verify this, it was that it came from like medieval, I think, times. But it's basically just a two puppets beating each other up, a husband and wife. I think like his name is Punch.
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, like, but when you look at the shadow, like shadow plays for me, they feel like you could do a little more with a shadow play. It's more subtle, and I feel like it probably lends itself to like more fantasy type stories. But puppet shows, I feel like they're like in the same family.
The name has always disturbed me, and I've never really looked into it. But it's just like you could just call it domestic abuse.
It's what it is. It's a play.
Let's watch domestic abuse.
Domestic abuse.
Wow. All right.
So, shadow play from the Twilight Zone. The shadow play
There we go.
Aired May 5th, 1961. This is the 7th of 12 episodes directed by John Brom, who we started off with one of the all-time great episodes, Time Enough at Last. And then we've talked about, again, 6 other ones. So if you want to know more about John Brom, just start at Time Enough at Last and poke your way through. This is the 9th of 22 episodes written by Charles Beaumont, who started with Perchance to Dream. And we discussed in the one of the recent episodes, which is escaping me now, that he had been suffering from Alzheimer's, and that some of these pieces may have been had contributions from other writers, and they may have given him some credit. Where as kind of a member of the Twilight Zone family, that way he could fulfill his contractual obligation.
Right. Was that?
But who knows when he wrote this?
Yeah.
I can't remember what episode it was. It was a good one.
I'll find it.
It was it was a young writer who it was his big break to write that episode, and they gave credit to Charles Beaumont. So at some point,
Long Distance Call?
Yes.
Or Prime Mover?
Long Distance Call.
Okay.
That's the one.
Yeah, because it was Charles Beaumont and William Idleson.
Yeah, William Idleson's the one who actually wrote it, and they gave Beaumont that way he could tick one off of his contract because he was signed on to write so many. But this story may have been written when he was younger and adapted. Who knows? So we have the setting is for this episode is a courthouse, death row, and the district attorney's home. I think that's pretty much it. I think it's just the 3 set pieces. And we have a cast of 16, but only 9 are credited. Major players: Adam Grant. This is a man convicted of murder and doomed to the electric chair again.
What?
This is the only appearance by Dennis Weaver, who in our house, Dennis Weaver growing up was a household name. I don't think he is to anybody anymore, but he was known as Chester for his role as Chester Good in Gunsmoke, which was huge. I think Gunsmoke was the longest running series until The Simpsons. Yeah,
you said Dennis Weaver, and I thought Dennis Hopper, and I was like, wait, he kind of looks like. Oh wait, no, he's not. Okay, never mind.
It's so funny you should say that because I was watching the episode. His performance is actually very much like a Dennis Hopper kind of performance. So weird coincidence. He was Marshal Sam McLeod in McLeod the series, which was basically just more. Let's put Dennis Weaver in a Western kind of situation. He was. They would do that NBC mystery movie of the week. And you would get I don't know if Columbo was part of that package or if that was another network, but the movie of the week thing where it's let's put a detective character in there and we're going to do a movie this week and we'll do another one in 4 months or whatever. And it'll feel kind of like a TV show, but not quite. We watched tons of those in our house growing up. Nice. He was in Duel, which is Steven Spielberg's first, I think Duel was a TV movie, if I remember right, where he plays the motorist who is being pursued by the crazy truck driver.
Yeah.
So if you've never seen Duel, it's frigging great, and Dennis Weaver's really good in it. It
kind of set the ground for Jaws, right? It's like Jaws with trucks.
Yeah, it's basically it.
Before Jaws.
It's those beats. It's it felt like it was almost like Spielberg practicing to make Jaws. You're not wrong, sir. Lonesome Dove. I don't know if you're a fan of that, the Western miniseries.
I didn't watch it, but I know it was a real big deal when it came out.
Yeah, my dad liked it, so I got to watch it. My mom and dad both watched it. Larry McMurdy, I think, wrote the books. But Dennis Weaver, there you go. That's his professional life. Outside all that, he was this super green guy, almost like Ed Begley Jr. And he even built one of those Earthship homes where it uses geothermal heat.
Oh yeah,
and all that. He did that in Colorado. I don't know if that's where he died or not, but I know that was later in his life.
I can't think of Ed Begley Jr. without thinking of his Simpsons appearance, where he gets in the car at the end of his scene and he's like, "This car's powered by my own sense of satisfaction."
Yeah.
Just takes off. Oh my God, it was so funny.
He's such a good sport too, because if I remember right, that was him voicing himself.
His voice. Love it.
So that's our lead, Adam Grant, the condemned man. Paul Carson, this is the city editor of the paper. First of two appearances by Wright King, who was really good friends with Dennis Weaver. Their families were like not blended, but you know what I mean. They would vacation together and stuff like that.
Yeah,
kind of friend.
yeah. They're the ones that where the kids call them aunts and uncles.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. He's going to come back to play Hecate or Hecate, however you pronounce that, in season 4 of late, I think, of Cliffordville. He was a supporting actor almost exclusively. He was in there, not a leading man type. Although I feel like he could have been. He was a handsome enough, competent enough guy. He was known for roles in this series, of course, in Planet of the Apes, the movie, another Rod Serling joint. He had a lengthy stage career too. He retired from acting in 87. Jiggs. I've already seen this actor, Jiggs. He's the inmate who tries to advise Grant, kind of the older guy with a meaty face. And you're like, where have I seen that meaty face? It's William Edmondson. He was the bartender in What You Need. Which is that episode where the guy says, I know exactly what you need. And it happens to be exactly what they need.
Yeah.
And he was the bartender. Hank Ritchie is the district attorney. You know what? Before I move on to Hank, Jiggs. When I say Jiggs is this character in the jail, he's more than that in this episode. He also comes back later as a different character.
Yeah. By the way, when you mentioned you talked about Wright King, right?
Yeah,
that was the second person. Okay, so I'm trying to keep this straight in my brain. Wright King, who played the character Carson, to me looks like Guy Ritchie, who is the character opposite the character Henry Ritchie. So anyway, that's just stuck in my head. And then the guy who plays Henry Ritchie, Harry Towns, reminds me of Cary Grant, kind of. Not Cary Grant. James Cagney. That's who it is. James Cagney.
Oh man, I wish I.
Wait, is it James Cagney?
No, it's my Uncle Phil.
Yeah, exactly. Oh God.
Oh, Harry Towns.
Now I got to look up James Cagney to remember what he looks like.
We'll see. We've already seen Harry Towns once in this series. He was Arch Hammer in The Four of Us Are Dying, if you remember that one.
That's right. Yes, James Cagney. That's who he reminds me of.
The Four of Us Are Dying was the astronaut one, right?
No, Four of Us Are Dying is the one where you can change faces. The boxer. Yeah,
that's the one. Thank you. The boxer.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute. I couldn't put it together. That's who he was. Okay.
And the other disappearing astronauts was the sky opened or something like that.
Oh yeah. Then when the sky was opened, I think.
Yeah.
Carol Ritchie. Back to shadow play. Carol Ritchie.
Yes.
This is Henry's wife, who has already been in an episode. She was in a really great episode. The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street. That's Ann Barton playing Myra Brand.
Right on.
Yeah. And she has a very small role in this. She kind of is there to cook steaks and be put out like offended, tired. We have Coley, who, if you were a Starsky and Hutch kid growing up, he was the captain on Starsky and Hutch, Captain Harold Dobie.
I do have one comment on that person's character. Coley is what they're referred to at the beginning. At one point, the character of Grant refers to him as Cooley, and I was like, "Oh no, let's not do that. Kind
of slurry."
Yeah, I was like, "Ooh," and I don't know if it was intentional or if it was just like a slip of the tongue or something. But I was like, "Oh, that." Suddenly, that was really gross.
I can't remember which character calls him that.
Adam Grant.
Adam Grant does
the lead, okay. Yeah.
Because I feel like that would be a weird intention for the Twilight Zone to have that character say it. It'd be something if they're trying to paint somebody, or it could have just been a slip up. Maybe it
could have been a slip up, and it would just like he was trying to remember. Anyway, but yeah, it was like, ooh, that's yeah.
Yeah, Bernie Hamilton, the actor, he's basically there to play harmonica and be kind of a movie trope. to add to, evidence of what we'll get to when Joe gets into the story. After Starsky and Hutch, he went on and started a record label called Chocolate Snowman. And they made
I love that.
Yeah, it's a cute name. R&B and gospel music, but he made this. If you can find this, I listened to some of his stuff. It's real silly. Captain Dobie Sings the Blues. So he released an album under the name of the character he played on Starsky and Hutch.
Are you really?
Yeah, it's so real, man.
That's awesome.
Look up Bernie Hamilton's Captain Dobie Sings the Blues. It's a trip. And the thing about him too was notoriously he managed to avoid being stereotyped. So he would get plugged into roles that weren't race dependent,
Right.
But he did start off though in the Jackie Robinson story as a baseball player. So pretty good first foot in the door there with a classic movie. But he's mostly known for being in One Potato, Two Potato, which is a very racially charged movie. 1964, this came out, and it's about him marrying a white woman, played by Barbara Barry. So it's culturally significant movie. Phillips, he's the inmate who is just kind of cracking up. His Thomas Nello, nothing really going with that guy. I just wanted to be like he was the nut job in the cell down the way.
You remind me a little of Peter Lorre.
Yeah. He also kind of gave me there was a little bit of a Silence of the Lambs vibe to that that end of the cell block. Then we have Father Beeman, who's the Death House chaplain, Mac Williams. He was the FBI agent in The Shaggy Dog, which I saw for the first time recently and loved to death. The movie where the kid becomes a dog from the 60s.
I just feel like the 60s and 70s were like, what are your movies? What are these?
So ridiculous. Although really the funny thing I learned about The Shaggy Dog is it's based on an old book, like a French fairy tale book about a kid that turns into a dog.
All right.
Anyways, a little trivia for you. Judge, our first judge we see is Gene Roth. It's the only time he'll be on the show, but he's an interesting guy as a person. He was a vaudeville venue manager, and his parents were a professional gambler and a dressmaker. So it almost feels like House of the Rising Sun was written about him.
Oh, wow. Yeah, totally.
The other characters who appear in this episode as jurors or people in the courthouse, it's just populated with a bunch of uncredited Twilight Zone regulars that, it's just people. I like to think of them as the citizens of the Twilight Zone, where everybody else comes to visit and they're just always there.
Is our guy who's in every flippin' episode in that one?
I didn't see him, but he is in the next episode we're going to cover. For sure.
Okay.
Right. I remember that.
Nice.
The episode, we'd already mentioned what a shadow play was. They do come back later in the 80s series and remake this.
Interesting.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll live long enough to get to that. It's the show.
I hope so. Dang. We'll get there.
Yeah, I think we will. We're almost done with season 2 of the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention the opening of this. I love with the transition from the black void with the defendant's table just floating in the black void was really effective.
Yeah.
And it plays with the title great. Another technical thing I really appreciate, and I don't know, I doubt it's the first time anyone's done this, but the card cut from Grant talking about being executed in the electric chair to Carol cooking T-bones.
Oh, yes. Oh, it's so good. And I'm going to talk all about that. It's so good.
That was a thing I thought was noteworthy.
I was like, I wonder if that's the first time this has happened because it was funny and shocking and good. Oh, God. It was awesome.
It's kind of gross. Yeah. So, and also the cast shuffling I really like, which we'll get into later. All right. Are you ready to get into the nitty gritty of this, Joe?
I am. Nitty and the gritty.
We did almost a 20-minute intro. Yeah, let's do it. Let's move on.
Look, folks, if you really came to learn about the episode, you could just watch the episode. It'd probably be faster. But listen, if you're here for the banter, we got you.
Absolutely. So let's do it.
So we open up on a man kind of pondering something in the shadows. This is our protagonist, Adam Grant, and the camera pulls back as the lights come up, and it really does. It looks like a theatrical performance. And at the first, I hadn't seen this one in forever, and so it's like, what's happening here? And so the lights come up, and we see he's defendant in a courtroom. And a few moments later, the jury is all settled, and the judge is there, and they say they find the defendant, Adam Grant, guilty of murder in the first degree. And the judge orders the defendant to rise, and he kind of hesitates there. He's real sweaty, and the judge is like, defendant will rise. And his attorney's like, hey, get Adam, stand up. And so he does rise, and the judge reads the verdict. And as he's reading the verdict, Adam is miming the words along with him, like as if he knows what the judge is going to say. And the judge finishes, and he starts kind of, Adam starts kind of like, I'll call him Grant from now on. Grant just kind of starts laughing, but crying, almost like a weird madness. And then he's like, no, not again. I won't die again. You can't make me die again. And then he jumps at the judge's bench. And I'm like, wow, that's bold.
I'd love to cut that scene into one of those court cam shows from that they show on NBC.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then as the bailiffs are grabbing him, he's like, oh God, please, please, please. And they're kind of pulling him out, and he turns to the district attorney. He's like, tell them, Mr. District Attorney, that this isn't real. Make them understand they're only a dream I'm having. You fools, you kill me, you'll die. You believe me, and then he turns to the press guy, the editor or whatever. And he goes, you believe me, make him believe me. Tell the district attorney he's prosecuted himself and everybody in this building and everybody in the world. Tell him, Mr. Carson, before it's too late. Tell him. Tell him. Son of a bitch. Text him. I don't care. For God's sake. And then we get the voiceover from Mr. Serling. Adam Grant, a nondescript kind of man, found guilty of murder and sentenced to the electric chair. Like every other criminal caught in the wheels of justice, he's scared, right now, right down to the marrow of his bones. But it isn't prison that scares him. The long, silent nights of waiting, the slow walk to the little room, or even death itself. It's something else that holds Adam Grant in the hot, sweaty grip of fear. Something worse than any punishment this world has to offer. Something found only in the Twilight Zone.
Okay. So before you're talking about the scene where the dialogue is from Grant to the judge and jury that if they're killing themselves.
Yes.
Which is a really kind of Inception-y thing that's happening, because the idea is they only exist in his mind, because this is like a recurring dream. So do they exist within the mind of the dreaming Grant? And when he dies, they no longer exist because the dreaming Grant dreamed them. That's some screwy logic right there. Like that line sent me into a little bit of a spiral of logic spiral. Yeah.
Well, and this is definitely an episode where in the early days, like seeing it for the first time, you'd be like, I can imagine people talking about it and having conversations. But the crazy thing about back then, not crazy, but like that we don't deal with now, is you couldn't just watch it again.
Right.
And so you'd be like, oh, wait, what did he say at that part? Wait, is that the same as that? Is that, and you'd have to wait for a rerun. And before, home media where you could watch all this stuff again, you couldn't see all the really nuanced stuff about it. You had to really just pay really close attention.
Yeah.
And there's stuff that, and as we mentioned before we got on, started recording, is it's only, I try to watch each of these at least 2 times, especially if I haven't seen them. And it's only in the second viewing that I was like seeing some of the nuance and some of the like details that escaped me the first time. And I was like, wait a second. Oh, wow. That's actually really like a cool plot thing. And that was a cool moment where they altered this, but they didn't highlight it. They didn't like spell it out for the audience. And I feel like they occasionally, like Twilight Zone is really good at that. And sometimes they make things really bloody obvious, but other times it's like, oh, that was subtle, you
Yeah.
know?
This was one of the most subtle episodes that was also it trusted the audience a lot more than some of the earlier episodes that had high concepts did because again, I think Sterling when he was talking about how he didn't like his writing in the early episodes, I think part of it was having to explain these high concepts in the dialogue. He
Yeah.
very little of that in this.
And I used to not understand what people meant by when they'd say trusting the audience, but it's like it's when it's the writing means you're expecting the audience to be paying attention enough that they're going to be able to figure things out. So you don't have to spell it out for them. And that's what it means to be trusting the audience is be like, hey, I'm not going to spoon feed this to you. I'm not going to make this really easy to understand and repeat the same thing like, oh, it was all a dream or, I'm going to make sure I'm going to tell the story with details that you will catch if you're paying attention.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to make it all work. Well, so you're trusting the audience to be really watching and paying attention. I don't know. It's cool.
And you have to have the audience excited. Like you said, the groundwork has to be laid. It can't just be that the details are there, but you have to make the audience hungry to find them and to uncover the little mystery. Whether it's a mystery genre piece or a drama, it's still a mystery, really. Like those pieces have to be, teased.
Yeah. So as we get into it, we the next scene we clip to is they're locked up on death row, and Grant tells Coley, which now that I think about it, Coley, it's also a name where it's like, anyway, he's the prisoner. He's playing harmonica, and it looks very cliche of like a guy on death row playing harmonica. And he tells Coley to stop that with the harmonica. And Coley's like, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was bugging you. And Adam apologizes. He goes, no, it's my fault. I got you out of a bad movie I saw once. Just like everything else in this corny dream. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, he just came out and said exactly what's going on in that these characters are all in his mind, They jump right into this idea, like you said, the Inception-ish idea where everything exists in his mind and he's just thinking of it because that's what he's experienced. And they even spell that out at one point. He actually is, as they're talking, he's like, the only reason there are things that are happening like they are is because I don't know what this would actually be like in real life. So this is what I imagine. And so that's why this is this way. And what you're seeing as the episode is exactly that, which is just, I don't know. I don't know. Just really, really good.
I see why they couldn't resist remaking it because it's as a creative person. And Stephen King did this with his books, Desperation and the Regulators. I don't know if you're a Stephen King fan or not.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you read these?
I haven't read either of those. I read mostly his short stories, and I'm really bad at finishing the novels. But
no, I get it, man. There's a lot going on in the world. It's hard to sit and read. But I've read these way back when they came out. So back in the olden days before it was so hard to find time to read. He wrote one is Stephen King and one is Richard Bachman. One is The Regulators and the other is Desperation. And it's the same cast of characters, if that makes sense. But they have different names. He did exactly what they do in this episode, but with a novel, 2 novels.
Oh, wow.
Where it's telling. Yeah, it's great.
So it's like, it is like one novel tells the story one way.
Yeah.
Are they referring to the fact that there is going to be another novel or not? Yeah. Not another novel, but like they allude to it in both directions.
Oh, they don't. It's something you only get when you start reading the other one.
Okay.
If that makes sense. It's a little bit of a surprise, although everybody knows, it's not like I'm ruining it's not a spoiler to say this. It's commonly known that that's what he did. But Shadow Play, to me, this is that sort of thing on a 20-minute level.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, and imagine that you actually can do this in 20 minutes. Anyway, that's a testament, not testification. Testament. Thank you.
You're stuck in the legal drama terminology.
Yes. Yeah. So Jiggs, this other inmate starts lecturing to Grant not to think about the execution or you'll crack up like Phillips there. And Phillips is, begging to, this is the Peter Lorre like character to me. He's like, "Mother, please don't let them hurt me, mother, mother." And he's got these big eyes. And you're like, and Grant is like, "Oh yeah, that's another cliche, just like all the rest of this stuff." And Jiggs is talking in cliches. What is he now? He's not a human. He's an animal. And he's like, I wonder sometimes what execution will be like. And Grant is like got the 1,000-yard stare, and he's like, "Oh no, I can tell you." He's like, "It's however many steps to here. The hallway is like this. The paint color is like this. The chair is tan. It's like padded like a chair that you'd have when you were a kid." And Jiggs is like, "Okay, stop. Like, knock it off." And he keeps going. And as he's doing it, this is a great scene too, where you see him describing on the right and on the left, you're like seeing the things that he's imagining.
Yeah.
So they're visualizing, and it's graphic. I mean, he's talking about you get into the chair and put on the electrodes and they're cold at first, which is a very menacing, foreboding. No, what's the word I'm looking for?
Chilling.
It hides the there's a better word for it, but it's like the idea that he says they're cold at first.
Yeah.
Right. And he's describing this process, and he's describing being strapped down and how you're breathing and how you're feeling, and like all the things they're doing to you to make sure that you stay still and all this. And then he says, finally, your body tenses and your breath changes, and they throw the switch, and a moment later, you see the next scene. They cut to a woman pulling a broiler out of an oven with sizzling steaks.
Nice big T-bones too.
Oh my gosh. And it's the first cut like that where you see it in movies all the time now, where they're like, and I could hear his flesh sizzling, and then you see the steaks, right?
Yeah.
But I was so surprised to see it in 61, did we say this was?
Yeah. My favorite use of that trick is in A Christmas Story, when Ralphie is in the bathroom trying to use his little orphan Annie decoder ring, and his little brother needs to take a shit, and he's banging on the door, freaking out, while little Ralphie's trying to unscramble, drink more Ovaltine,
Yeah.
And then they cut to the mom taking the lid off the chili pot. Insinuating the kid shit didn't quite, it's right when the kid pulls his pants down and sits on the toilet. That's what I think it is. And then they cut to that. It's real gross. Funny though.
I didn't even make that connection.
There's something else with a slicing tomato, and I can't remember what movie it is where they cut to the slicing tomato.
Yeah.
It might have been Halloween 2 or something, maybe. I don't know.
Some good stuff.
Yep.
Let's see. So they cut to the steaks, which does a number of things, right? It makes that so impactful because he really is talking about the sizzling, the sound. And also you remember, hey, steaks, right? Which becomes important later. So serves multiple purposes. It's so good.
Because there are high stakes in the episode. No, I'm kidding.
Right?
No, but it's a plot device and a joke.
Oh, it's so good. And okay, so then we're at Richie's home, the district attorney, and Carson, I guess he's the press representative or something.
Yeah, he's the city editor.
Okay, city editor, which I don't even know what that. I guess that's the person who does all the city stories.
Yeah, I think they cover all the crime and legal stuff.
I used to work for a news organization. You'd think I'd know that, but anyway.
It's kind of it's an old timey title. I don't even know if it really exists outside of traditional newspapers.
Yeah. You might call them I don't know if they'd have editors for special purposes like that anymore. You might someone on a certain beat, but
chief correspondent. You hear that a lot.
Something like that.
It probably pays less. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry. I actually wrote down here in my notes the right thing, and I should have said this before, but right before they cut to the stakes, the last line he says is, "Then you can almost hear it. They pull the switch." And right after he says switch, you hear
sizzle.
Anyway.
I do want steak. It's gross It's a gross thing in the show, especially, well, it's black and white to begin with, but I love steak enough that I was like, steak.
She flipped them over and they're all like dripping. And I was like, that's gross. And I really would enjoy a steak right now.
I've never cooked a T-bone like that on a broiler at home before.
Oh, really? My mom used to do that all the time.
Yeah, they turn out pretty good.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's like you're grilling because you turn the broiler on first and the broiler goes to maximum heat.
Yeah.
It's as hot as it can get. And so you put up the steaks right close to it. And so it keeps you're essentially
is it serum?
Yeah, you're searing the steak on the top, right? And then you flip it over and sear on the other side.
I'm gonna try it next time I get some steaks. I'm a cast iron skillet guy, or grill.
My mom always did the broiler, and then I learned the cast iron way, and I found out searing them doesn't actually like seal in the moisture.
Oh, that's BS.
All these different things. Anyway, man, this is a super digressive episode.
It just tastes better when they're seared. That's all.
Yeah, that's true. Only got that browning on them. All right, sorry to any vegetarians or anybody who does not enjoy the meat. So the city editor shows up to the district attorney's house, and he's drunk, and he's explaining it's just a few hours now to the execution, and the editor's like, hey, you know what? I've been talking to him, and I think he might be telling the truth. And so they start arguing back and forth, and the district attorney's wife is like, you know what? You guys argue about this. I'm going to bed. I've lost my appetite. And district attorney Richie is like, what about this? What about dinner? Which again, wow. And she's like, I lost my appetite. You go check on the steaks. They'll be ready in 5 minutes.
Guess you got to eat. I guess when you've been in that line of work long enough, you're immune to affecting your appetite.
Right, I guess. And it's like 9 o'clock at night. So damn.
He's probably going to have martini with it too. Or a martini if he's real thirsty.
I don't know what that is.
Another martini.
Oh, martini. I've never heard that phrase.
I have no idea where I picked that up either.
So Carson continues to argue with him, saying, don't you think that our lives are impossibly perfect, and that this could be something? Why don't you go talk to him? How can you have this great life and money in the bank and all this stuff, and then there's a guy like Grant out there. So Richie goes to Grant, and back in the prison, Grant is waiting for him to arrive, saying, oh yeah, he usually shows up around 9, and then talks about all the things that don't make sense as part of what they're doing. Like, the fact that he could ask Jiggs what time it is, and Jiggs had a watch on, because people about to be executed aren't allowed to have watches because of the glass. I was like, I don't know if that's the reason, but I mean, that's good enough.
I mean, I thought the first thing I thought when I saw the watch, and it could be that because I've seen this episode before, but in my mind, I was like, oh, he shouldn't have that.
Yeah.
Just because I'm like, I just imagine anything can be turned into a weapon.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking too. And then Richie comes in, and they have a conversation, and Grant is like, I've had this whole conversation before with other DAs. And as Richie is talking to him, he starts mouthing the same words, and he's like, stop that, and he's like, all right, well, if it's all just a dream, then, why is this bother? And he's like, have you ever had a dream where you were drowning and you woke up and you were freaked out? He's like, yeah, imagine, dying over and over again. It's terrible. It's horrific. And I've done it so many times. I'm so tired of it. And Richie's like, all right, I don't believe you. I'm not doing this. And then he's getting out to leave. And Richie's like, wait. Okay. All right, fine. You don't believe me? He said, your wife is cooking steaks right now. I'm going to change it. When you get home, it's going to be something else. And a moment later, they show him like at home, and he goes into the kitchen with Carson right behind him. He opens up the oven, and it's a roast, not steaks.
Yeah, there seals the deal. That reminded me of that moment in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure when they figured out that they could just be like, later on, we're going to go into the past and we're going to place this there and it'll
Oh
be there
yeah.
for them, and they
Yeah.
just got to remember to do it.
Yeah.
It's clever. I think it's a clever thing where he's just like, I'm going to change one little thing.
Right. And
And
it's the one thing that we remember clearly since we saw the sizzling steaks that he described before. It was such, just like
super
that's
effective.
good writing.
Yeah. Good editing too.
Yeah, totally. So Jiggs, so there's a commercial break and then come back and Jiggs is trying to tell Grant, hey, you should try and get a psychiatric exemption from the execution. If they think you're crazy, they're not going to kill you. And so he's like, well, they're not going to believe me. He said, because there's all kinds of stuff that doesn't make sense. For instance, he's like, the trial just finished. Then I was sentenced. Now I'm being executed all in the same day. So what's actually happening in the episode as he's describing, he's like, that doesn't happen. He's like, but I don't know that. So I'm just imagining that it all happens in one day. So as he's just basically describing the episode, I was just like, oh God, I love that it's so, I don't know, so fourth wall breaking
Yeah.
but not quite. And then at Richie's house, the district attorney's house, he and Carson are waiting for midnight, trying to figure out what to do and how to handle it. And Carson is trying to convince Grant, hey, you should call the governor and or whatever to give him a stay, or at least to give it some time, just buy some time to figure this out. And so while they're debating that, Grant is in his cell, and Father Beeman comes in, and he's like, "Is there anything you want to say?" And he's like, "No." He's like, "Huh." He's like, "I think maybe that you were a priest that I remember as a boy. I think that's where you're from." He's just trying to remember all the cast of characters.
Yeah. He said, we're a
where
friend
he
of my
remembers them.
father's. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Friend of my father's. And then he goes, he said, "Oh, Carson was the priest who replaced you." And he said, "But I can't remember who Richie was."
It's funny. It sounds
And
like us talking about these episodes sometimes.
right.
It's him
Exactly,
talking
yeah.
about what is quote unquote really happening to him.
Yeah. Which is just, I don't know. It's, again, it requires the audience to be paying attention, to be like, okay, wait, this still doesn't make sense. And yet it's kind of coming together. And,
Do you think a lot of spouses had to explain this to each other when this aired?
I don't know. I wonder how much the debate. I wonder how much people liked it the first time without being able to watch it again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think it probably blew some minds.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, like it may have like been as what happens with this stuff sometimes. Like it's a critical darling, but then people are like, I don't know, it didn't make any sense to me. It's like, all right, well,
It's a pretty
okay.
beloved episode.
Yeah. So Carson finally convinces Richie. They clip back to that he's crazy, or he's right, or something. So something is off. So you really need to call the governor. So he calls the governor. He's like, I'm going to regret this. And as he's calling the governor, you hear the phone ringing, and then, or no, he says he calls the governor, and he says, "Okay, I called the governor. He's going to call to get it stayed." Right. And then as that's happening, you see a scene, and this kind of shocked me that they actually showed this. There's a scene of them basically in the chamber where you enable the switch to like power it up, and the actual final switch that gets flipped, you can see Grant under the hood, black hood in the background, which, by the way, if I won't say get too gory with it, but the black hood's there so that things don't kind of pop out.
I've heard that over the years.
Yeah.
I
don't know if it's true.
I don't know if it's true. I remember in the Faces of Death movies where
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They had one where the guy's eyeballs melted, which turned out to be fake.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder what the truth of that is. It might just be there so the executioner doesn't have to see their face.
Right.
Would be more my
Might
guess.
be something like that.
Or maybe the burning.
Or maybe something like that can happen. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm sure it burns you. Electricity burns you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ugh.
I would think. It is really the electric chair is one of the creepiest inventions I can remember. You know what I mean? Like I remember
Yeah.
as a teenager reading the Big Book of Death. I think it was called. It was a kind of, it has this big scary title, but it's kind of a humor book
Oh, really?
that addresses death with illustrations and stuff. And one of them was about the electric chair.
I think there is a certain type of people who maybe are fans of horror movies who are kind of into that stuff because that sounds really intriguing to me. But I can imagine other people would be like, "Ugh, why would you even want to read that?" And I'm like, kind of want to know if that book exists.
Yeah.
Or like where what that is. Anyway,
It's hard to find too. Like I don't know where my copy is, but I would love to get another. Anyone has a lead on a copy of the Big Book of Death. Pretty
weird.
great.
So in the background, you can see he's under the hood. They're flipping the switches to get it primed. And just as they flip the final switch, you hear the phone ring. Like as the switch is arcing, the phone rings. And you see Grant's body tense up under the hood in the background. And I was like, wow, they're actually showing that. That's intense. And
We've seen other executions on the Twilight Zone already too. The
Yeah,
hangings.
yeah, and firing squad, I think. Maybe,
Have we been to a firing squad yet? I know there is one, at least one.
And then as the clock strikes 12, we're back in Richie's house. And I didn't notice this again the first viewing, but the second viewing, and the three of them are the Richie, his wife, and Carson are standing in the living room. The clock strikes 12 and then disappears. And then the table behind Richie, the like end table, disappears. And then it fades to black.
And
it was like,
cool. I love that moment.
I didn't even see that the first time. And everything after it fades back, it fades in. And it's an exact repeat of the opening scene, except Jiggs is now the judge, that character. Carson is now the jury foreman. Phillips, who is the Peter Lorre type guy, is now Grant's public defender. And the jury is totally different.
Yeah, it's so great.
Wild.
I love this moment.
Yeah. And as they're like going through the motions, you see him going through the motions of doing the same things where he yells out and doesn't stand and all that. You hear the voiceover of Mr. Serling. We know that a dream can be real, but whoever thought that reality could be a dream? We exist, of course, but how? In what way? As we believe, as flesh and blood human beings, or are we simply parts of someone's feverish, complicated nightmare? Think about it, and then ask yourself, do you live here, in this country, in this world, or do you live instead in the Twilight Zone?
Awesome. Awesome episode.
Or in the Matrix. Or whatever other metaphor you want to use.
I did find the Big Book of Death. I was trying to find it as a digital book because I don't have a lot of space, but it turns out you can go to Biblio or any other reseller and find used copies of it. But it was DC Comics who published it, apparently.
I guess that makes sense.
Paradox Press back in 96.
Wow.
It's such a great book. If you ever see a copy of that, I highly recommend it. Big Book of Death has a big tombstone on the cover. It's by Bronwyn Carlton.
Nice. Yeah. And then after that final bit, we get the next episode is The Mind and the Matter. And Mr. Serling does an ad for real refreshment before we meet again. Oasis, for the softest taste of all.
Yummy. Cigarettes.
Promoting cigarettes. Yeah.
And then we get a promo for the Ed Sullivan Show.
Oh, did we? I missed that.
It might not have been on your version. Yeah. Like I was watching it on the Blu-ray. But yeah, I was like, oh, it's so funny because and we were talking before we recorded, I just finally got around to watching the Disney Plus Beatles anthology remaster re-release thing. And the Ed Sullivan Show. It's just interesting how the timelines of talking about the Twilight Zone. I feel like I've been very much culturally in the 60s since we started doing this show.
Interesting. Interesting.
Well,
it's cool to see the connections and stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah, because you want to know, you want to feel the whole what the world was around the writing and stuff. So this is beyond, obviously this is beyond a casual viewing of the Twilight Zone. I really, we're going for a much deeper understanding of everything around it if we can.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yar.
Well, that's cool. All right.
Mega episode.
That's a big long one.
Yeah, what are we coming back with next week? It's the mind and the matter.
The mind and the matter.
All right, another brain episode, mind episode. We'll see you guys then.
We'll maybe digress a little less on that one.
I don't know. We'll see,
or more. Who knows?
Who knows?
See everybody.
Thanks.